Hey, this is Alpha Quadrant 6. We are a science fiction review show. This is Jay.
Go ahead.
Ladies
I'm
first.
Liz.
And this is Steve. Liz is in Bob's seat.
Bob is actually out at a conference.
It's a conference in California, yep.
And we are lucky enough to say that we made it through the entire season of Star Trek Discovery Season 1. We saw the final episode tonight. Don't watch this show if you haven't seen the final episode, because this is a show, we should just call the show spoilers, because that's all we talk about is what happened on the show. So, episode 15, Will You Take My Hand? I watched it, and I'm not even sure why they named it that.
Well, I think, so this gets to, I think, the theme of this episode, which is returning Starfleet to the original series, moral ethic, what the Boy Scout, Starfleet.
I mean, that was obvious at the end of the episode, but I don't know, the title just didn't seem...
And that was like, Burnham's speech at Starfleet at the end was basically like, this is Starfleet. I was wrong. I learned my lesson. Now we all learned the same lesson. This is what Starfleet is. Let's go forth as Starfleet.
We've seen what happens when you don't follow the ideals of Starfleet, and it's not good.
It's not pretty, right?
So I think what we should do is we should talk about this episode, and then at the end we'll kind of give
the whole season.
We'll review the season. So we started off with Michael, the tension on the bridge.
Yeah.
Right. So
that was awesome.
Yeah. Captain Felipe Giorgio.
Felipe Giorgio.
She comes out. And Michael and Saru exchange a look, which I love that. Those are the moments, remember I said this many times, I keep talking about this. It's those moments when you have two characters that you don't know each other, you have some of their background, and they're developing a further connection with each other by looking at each other. It's those sideways glances that make us realize that somebody's not happy, shit's going on, there's tension. So in this particular scene, they are freaking out. On the inside, we hear them screaming, "Oh my God, what is she doing on the bridge? This is insane."
This is the Terran Emperor is now the captain of Discovery.
Yep.
And they know it, and they're freaking out. And this is orders coming from Starfleet, of course, and they know that it's out of desperation, and they just don't know what to do. And they're kind of stuck. It's a good moment, because they are stuck, and they are desperate. And again, that sort of drives, that's the conflict driving this whole episode.
Right. Yeah. So then they use the spore drive to instantly be in a cave inside, a lava tube inside the Klingon planet.
Kronos. Of Kronos,
yep. And the thing that we were saying to each other while we were watching the episode was, how can humans go to the Klingon homeworld planet? How is that okay? Like, I just thought like all humans would just be like, you're our enemy, but...
No, I mean, I think that's okay, because the Federation's a big place, and these were criminals, smugglers, outlaws, right? They're not Starfleet. They're not Starfleet.
And it was not just Klingons on the Klingon homeworld. It was like some kind of cool multicultural divey.
Well, and they made a point of saying this was the Orions, I guess. This clan are criminals too,
right?
And so
it's even more acceptable.
So they have to trade with aliens, because that's what they do. So that it did make sense, a little contrived, but I think they made it make sense, and it's fine.
Yeah.
My favorite moment in the episode was leading up to that, when Giorgio was saying who she wanted to bring with her on the away mission. As soon as she said it, I was like, it's gonna be Tilly.
Yeah. And then Tilly comes in, and there was a lot of comedy going on in there.
She's so good.
That was one of the funniest scenes in the season. Was Tilly realizing that Captain Giorgio is the Terran Emperor.
Right. What is going on?
What is happening?
What's happening here?
She's a very good actress.
Yeah.
And she pulled off that scene, because comedy's hard. And that scene could have fallen flat, but she really worked it. And
she's comedic, but she's not a joke.
Right, exactly. It was very good. That scene was brilliant.
Yeah.
Loved it.
It was fun. And there was tension there too, because it was... we know to what extent what the Emperor had to do to become the Emperor. Like, they're in the room with a deadly shark.
Yes.
And they're all like, holy shit, maneuvering around here. Like, what do we do here? So they're on the planet, they're walking around, they're wearing street gear, they're wearing like thug-type clothes, which I think is always kind of funny when they do this in Star Trek. And it happens a lot in Star Trek, right? Especially in Next Generation. So we had an interesting encounter with an actor who had been on Star Trek, the original series.
I'm trying to think. That's the first actor from the original series to be in Discovery, right? And it was Howard, the brother, Ron Howard's younger brother at the time.
Right.
Who actually, what's his first name?
I don't know.
And he played the little kid, Tranya.
The little kid whose voice got dubbed over with an adult voice. Now, this is I love this story because I've heard the actor talk about it in an interview. He was like saying how excited he was, and it was like a great thing. He always loves when people come up to him and talk about it. But he was shocked as a kid when he saw the episode and he heard that his voice didn't make it.
Right.
Like they just dubbed it over some weird older guy's voice. As soon as that guy came on screen, we were all like, "Oh, that's that guy!"
Yeah.
What's his face?
Almost all.
And he had he did a good job. It was funny because he had like an eye that was partly closed. One of his eyes was partly closed, and oddly, it reminded me of Egg from what was that? What was the movie? Oh my God!
I don't know.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Right, but he was basically just a smuggler.
It was whatchamacallit? What was that freaking movie where they fight the guy with the woman with green eyes? What was that movie?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Green eyes?
Yes. What was that freaking movie? Oh my God!
All right, you'll think about it later.
All right.
Move on.
Big Trouble in Little China. My God! You don't know that? You don't have that movie memorized?
I do, but your description did not trigger it.
Whatever. I'm sorry. It's a very important movie in my life, Steve. So, my favorite scene was Ash gambling.
Yeah, that was good.
I mean, that whole scene where he's like, "Hey, I think I can gamble," and I know well. And he goes in there and he's like really, mixing it up with those guys.
Because he is folk.
Yeah,
he's a very believable Klingon man.
Yeah. But I think it was fun to watch him as a human acting like a Klingon, right? He was like pushing them, and it's very much like alpha male, based in their interaction. So that was a pretty cool scene. And then, of course, you have Michael in the background. She's like absorbing all of this, and she's like, "What? Oh my God!"
She's getting a little PTSD from when her parents got killed. Yeah. And we did learn more about that she was there. It was kind of her fault, innocently, but it was, a consequence of a decision that she made. And she listened to her parents getting killed and heard the Klingons laughing. And so this is all just triggering that. So we could, polish off the Ash Tyler plotline, discussion. This is what we were trying to make predictions before the show. There were so many possibilities, and it turns out Ash decides to go with L'Rell, so he's gone, at least for now.
Which is a big thing that happened with Ash.
Yeah.
Although it's not at all what I thought would happen.
Right.
Yep.
And he realizes he doesn't really have a place in the Federation. So maybe he could do some good trying to help end the war, which is what he does. This is sort of the resolution to the war, which was, we were also speculating, is season 2 going to be the Klingon Federation war, or is this are they going to wrap it up in this episode? And they wrapped it up. Yeah. They wrapped it up pretty tightly. But did
it work? Did you feel like Ash leaving, did that make sense to you?
Sort of. I think so. It's fine. And it kind of frees her up from him, which I think plot-wise is probably good.
Yeah.
And then we don't have to see all of his character, rebuilding. Which could be really
tedious. Yeah, it'd be tedious.
He can go away, have his own character
come back as a different
somewhere
character.
else and come back.
Yeah. Yep.
So this, I think, takes us to the main arc of the episode, which is the plan between Admiral Cornwell and Cornwell and Sarek and the Federation basically was to work with the Emperor.
Use her knowledge to take over.
But to basically to destroy Kronos. Yeah. Right. Plant a hydrogen bomb in the active volcano, set it off, which is what she did in her world, in her universe. Destroy Kronos, and this is how they were going to end the war. Yep. And Michael learns about this, and it's like, we're Starfleet. We don't. This is genocide. We don't do this. And she challenges Cornwell and convinces her not to do it, which is a really risky move, given that the Klingons are on Earth's doorstep. They're about to wipe out the Federation, and she's counting on a really, Hail Mary pass. Like, not only are we going to not destroy Kronos, the plan was to give L'Rell the detonator so that she can use it to unite the houses and end the war. That's a huge gamble.
Yeah, that was too gambling.
That was a huge gamble. It works. It all works out.
Yeah, of course it can, because the writers can decide that it works.
Yeah, and it had to work because, again, this is a prequel, and with a prequel, you know where you end up.
Yeah. Right.
The only question is how you get there, and that path has to be interesting. So we knew that obviously that we knew the Earth wasn't going to get destroyed, so it had to work. But still, that was a huge gamble.
It was, but of course, they had to set the stakes up super high.
Yeah.
because again, the follow-up to this was that the Federation had to be like, we're the Federation. Like,
yeah.
You know, we stand for something more than this. Even in, you know, a desperate war situation, we have to be honorable and have our morals engaged.
Yeah.
And I get that. Yeah, I got it, but it's still, to me, the writing was a little weak right there because I just thought it was too risky. The whole thing was risky.
I believe that. I mean, what are you going to do? Not take a risk? Like, either. And she knows, like, she just saw what happens if you don't stick to your.
Yeah, they did bring that back in. I mean, it's part of Michael's arc, her personal arc as well, and I like that. I like that part of it. I loved her getting her badge back. Yeah, that was cool, and I thought that you know, it was just good to see her father do it, and you know, he acknowledged her as his daughter, and that was
it was all very touching at the end, and it
felt like the end of Star Wars.
Yeah, and it was
nice.
Right.
Definitely they were playing to, you know, fans of the original series. You know, they were definitely playing on our sensibilities.
But of course, I mean, a lot of feedback that we were given, all of us were given. You know, if you're keeping up with Star Trek Discovery, this is really dark, and I like the darkness, I like the grittiness. Yeah. But then halfway through, I started to miss. Yeah. You know, I want it to be like more like, hey, can they please go down to a planet and solve some problem and then go back up and laugh with each other at the end? You know, like I kind of like the rhythm of the original series, and the Next Generation had that rhythm as well. I enjoy that, and I think this will be a good segue into reviewing the entire season, right?
Yeah. So,
well, but wait, before we do, of course, we have to mention. At the end, the Enterprise comes on screen.
Oh, one more thing about the scene when they were getting the awards. I really appreciated that they gave a shout out to Hugh, and he wasn't just forgotten.
Yeah, right. He got his post-mortem medal.
It was nice.
So we were rewatching that end scene a few times. We were critiquing, like, okay, it looks like they modified the Enterprise
a little bit.
You know, the nacelles were a little bit shaped differently. It was a little grittier. You know,
it was just rendered better. It was the same design, but just with our technology. You know,
I'm so sad Bob wasn't there for that.
Bob, whenever Bob sees that, he's going to freak out. But here's a few things. One, as soon as Michael hears that it's Captain Pike's ship, she's like, "That's the Enterprise." Why would Michael know that ship? It's because her brother is on that ship.
Sarek and Michael share an exchange a look, and like they both know that Spock's on that ship, and then she identifies it as the Enterprise. Yeah. Not that anybody would necessarily know that. I mean, they would probably know their own fleet, but she knew it, particularly because Spock is on there.
But that's so. What's going to happen? You know, like, unfortunately, we found out that it doesn't seem like Star Trek Discovery is going to have another episode until 2019. So, at its earliest, you know, we are 11 months away, 11 months to a year away.
Who's the captain going to be?
Well, who's the actor? We don't know. I know. I mean, it's got to be some dashing, you know, good-looking guy to stand up to the old. No, Pike, Captain Pike. It's Captain Pike. It has nothing to do.
Are you talking about who's the actor who's going to play Captain Pike?
No,
you're talking about who's the new captain of Discovery.
I'm talking about Captain Pike.
He's talking about Pike.
It does not have to be.
Oh my God! See that? See what just happened here? No, the point
I can tell you guys are talking past each
Captain Pike.
Who's the actor who's going to play Captain Pike?
He was the actor who
I don't
played
care who's going to play Captain.
We don't even need to know that necessarily. All right.
I think that Michael seems like a shoo-in. No.
No. They're not going to go from. All right, we're going to wipe your record clean of being a mutineer, but we're not going to give you your own ship.
Well,
I mean, she's a science officer.
Randomly assigning people who don't have the qualifications to be like in leadership positions, because that did not work out for them.
Yeah. Liz, she was preaching to Starfleet. She was basically giving like this profound speech on who we should be.
Yeah, that bought her out of jail, right? Yeah. Back into, she got her badge back.
I got you.
No more life sentence.
She's a commander. She's a science officer on a ship. You know, that's enough.
Okay.
I mean, and you know, Saru kind of deserves it, but maybe he's not quite ready. So they're going to bring in a seasoned captain.
Yeah.
You know, if there's any left in the Federation, and so we'll see who that is. That could be anybody.
I think she's better in a position where she's not the leader, anyways. You know, where she's like,
she's got to
doing her own thing.
She's a foil in a lot of regards. Like, you know, she definitely brings a lot of change to the plot and all that. I get that. I don't know. I mean, but I think that there could be an evolution with her where she could get her own command.
Yeah,
so talking about the season now, I this last episode gave me the sense that the writers intended this season to really be a one-season arc that gets wrapped up, and at the end they hand it off to the original series.
Yeah, but that makes sense because early on in early production, the original writers, the original showrunners were saying that they wanted the show to change completely every season.
Yeah.
So
they were thinking of doing like an anthology season by season.
Right.
Yeah. And then maybe they're still going to do that.
Maybe.
But then they thought, all right, if this is really successful enough, we'll keep with this crew and with this cast and with the Discovery. But we don't know how much time there's going to be to the next season. We might be a year in the show.
Right. It's not going to pick up where it left off.
It doesn't necessarily have to pick up. That was just a nice little homage to the original series and connecting us to that timeline.
No, but we were so close. I was having a little.
They were teasing us like NCC-17. Who could it be?
Yeah.
I was chatting with people online about like someone was saying like why wouldn't they like have more Kirk and we were talking about what actor would play Kirk and everything, and I'm like first of all, like if they introduce the original series crew, like if I see Spock and Kirk, I'm like, I don't want to follow the people on Discovery anymore. I'm an original series epic fan. Like that's my right. So that would be very difficult for me.
You can't take Tilly.
You want Tilly? Tilly's awesome.
But there is one cool thing I want to say. So I saw some pictures of when they were designing the original Discovery clothing and the costuming and all that stuff, and they had a modified version of the Star Trek the original series outfits on the wall. Like they just showed renderings of and it was the three color thing with the tops being different colors and the pants being black. Now I think if we ever go on the Enterprise or see their uniforms, it is going to be like
it has to be
those uniforms. The people on Discovery had their own special Black Ops uniforms.
No, but other people, not just on Discovery, had their uniforms. That was the standard uniform. But the Constitution class ships are different. Yeah. We've never seen a Constitution class ship on this series.
Right.
So they could have their own uniforms. Why not?
Yeah, I guess you're right. But that would be cool. Yeah. I want to see a modern take on the bridge.
But I don't know that we're going to get that.
I
don't know that we're going to get that. I think it's always going to be in the background, little glimpse, maybe on the screen. At most, we're going to have a conversation.
Well,
with
you
them.
had a fun idea. Like imagine if we do get a clip of Captain Pike sitting on the bridge, and right over there in the corner, right where the science station,
from behind,
you see the Vulcan
over
something, or standing there with his arms behind his back, standing there.
I mean, because they can recast Pike, right? Just like they recast Sarek.
Yeah,
but I don't know. But Spock, that is tougher. Yeah. They would be ill-advised, I think, to do that. Yeah. I think he's better as a background character in this series.
I agree. I mean, it's not about those guys. As much as I wanted it to be.
So, let's talk about the series overall. Yeah. Why don't you start, Liz? Tell us.
I want to talk about the costumes in the series overall. Yeah. That was like something that I really loved this season. They were awesome.
Yeah.
I feel like there's so many characters that I want to cosplay as now. I don't even know which one to do.
Well, I mean, the Mirror Universe is the best, though.
Oh,
of course.
They're so good. But even not just those, like Admiral Cornwell's costume in the penultimate episode was just cool.
Yeah, it was cool.
And
I like Sarek's.
Yeah,
he's rocking it. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
He's pulling that character.
I bet you we're going to we go to Dragon Con, those kind of cons.
Yeah.
We're going to see.
Hope so.
We're going to see a lot of this, and then there's going to be a Sarek.
Deep Space Nine, Voyager. It's just like kind of same, slightly different, But they really, I think, added a lot this season.
Yeah,
even the Klingon. You like the Klingon outfits? They were a little over the top.
They were cool though.
Yeah.
Whatever. I don't know.
They grew on me a little bit, but they were a little much.
I mean, one of my favorite things was definitely the Mirror Universe. I mean, when they went there, those 3 episodes were fantastic. They were a lot of fun. I really liked Harry Mudd.
Yeah.
Because it was a really dirty version of Harry Mudd, like a real scary
gritty version of it.
Which made it pretty cool.
What are the chances that Dwight Schrute was a gritty, scary version of Mudd?
That just goes to show you that the actor is very talented.
He's versatile.
He's not that guy. He's not Dwight Schrute. He's Schrute. I think that they learned a lot, right? It was very obvious that they were getting better as they were going along. And reading about the show online, the showrunners were even saying that they figured out where the sand traps were not to get stuck and all that. And I think it's just typical for shows like this.
And this is for a first season, this was great.
Yeah, it was a great first season.
I love the fact that it was not episodic, that it was a serial. They had an arc, that the season sort of had its own storyline, and it kind of wraps up at the end. That's fine. I like that. I love the characters. I thought that we really got to know the characters. I think there's a lot of secondary characters I want to get to know now more going forward. A lot of the bridge crew, we didn't really get to hear much from them. They didn't really focus on the bridge crew. And I thought, the plot itself was great. I still don't like the Spore Drive. I think they could have wrote the entire season without the Spore Drive.
Yeah.
And one of the things we were speculating about was how are they going to wrap that up? Because we know that doesn't exist in the original series universe. And they didn't really wrap it up. All they said was they tabled it while they explore a non-human interface, right? That's not enough. That's lame. That's not enough of a reason for that technology not to be prominent in every later Star Trek series.
Right, when they need to pull it out emergency style.
Yeah. What happened with the spore drive thing is going to kill the entire universe?
No, it was if all the spores died.
The evil Stamets basically tainted the spores and they were dying out, and they had to purge.
So they took this planet, and the spores are now are growing on the planet. And I think that they're able to collect the spores from that planet. But I also got the sense they showed the spores kind of flying out into outer space, which means that
repopulating the.
I mean, they could have said something like, "It's too freaking risky. Like we can't mess with that."
Or they could have gimped the spores. They could have said, if we keep doing this, we'll destroy the spores, and that will destroy the multiverse. So we can't do this.
It's not the same thing that happened with warp travel.
Well, there had to be an that's true. But there had to be an absolute reason why they can't do it. And instead they gave this, we need to tweak the technology, basically. So we're going to put, really?
It was
they better come up with something better than that.
If you go somewhere fast, it's not good.
But it was a little too clean and neat and happy, kind of like, we'll both shelve that. Like, no, sorry.
That didn't work.
Wash.
They wrote themselves into a corner with the spore technology.
What was your favorite part of the season?
I mean, the mirror universe.
Right.
I mean, I like that. I loved Lorca. I loved the actor, Isaacs. I loved the character. And the mirror universe added so much grittiness and urgency and desperation, and the stakes were really high. The conflict was really high. That's all great. It made it interesting how we were on the edge of our seats for those episodes in the mirror universe.
Yeah.
And then even now, so they let Philippa Georgiou, a woman who conquered an entire galaxy, back in her universe, they let her go.
That was ridiculous.
Out into the wild. Who knows what mischief she's going to go? But I mean, I suspect we will be seeing her in future seasons.
If they continue with that crew, yes, we'll see her again, without a doubt. Yeah, but I thought that was another weird decision that they made. Again.
She kind of had them by the short hairs.
Yeah, but
they should have. And then you could say, well, they should have reneged. But this is not the Starfleet, right? Starfleet doesn't do that.
They had to let her make a choice,
right?
Yeah, but I thought at the very
they're probably just underestimating her. They're thinking, how much harm could one? We'll keep an eye on her. We won't.
I don't know, Michael. I don't think Michael. There was never a moment that they showed Michael like being dumb in any way.
No, she was. Michael's not underestimating her. I think Starfleet's underestimating.
Yeah, but Michael has access to admirals in Starfleet now. You know what I mean? Like she knows these people. Like she would have been like, you got to follow her wherever she goes. I thought that they were going to escort her back to her universe. Mm-hmm. Like figure out a way to get her out of here. Like she's just nothing but trouble. She could do. I was having fun thinking about maybe she finds Lorca. Maybe she.
That'd be cool.
I think Lorca Prime is out there.
Yeah.
Because they specifically mentioned the second to last episode that my Gabriel couldn't survive in the mirror universe, so he must be dead. Yeah. But why say that if they're not sort of putting that idea out there? Like, well, we don't know if he's dead or not, which means he probably is alive.
He could be the captain. He could be the replacement.
He could be.
You never know. You never know.
I made an observation that really amused me this week.
Yeah.
There were 2 conversations in a row about characters eating other characters.
I noticed that too. Yeah. So she was. Georgiou was talking about eating the Kelpie.
Yeah, and she got it right back at her.
And then the Klingon was talking about eating her, her other stuff. Yeah, it's interesting. I was thinking, so Michael, she got a taste of Kelpie now. Maybe she really likes it.
No,
they probably taste really good because they're a prey species, right? So they're really tasty.
Oh my God!
I thought that was a very uncomfortable conversation that was going on, not just in this room, but on the show. It was really uncomfortable when they were like throwing these puns at each other about eating. I was like, all right, come on. It's like, really? It's like you're getting mad at people like, don't blow my cover, and now she's like talking to the first officer like a knife and fork in her hand, like looking at the guy. Get out of here.
But she really has no idea how they act. She knows they're like theoretically good, but how does she know what a Starfleet actor
She wasn't really trying very hard to
No, she wasn't.
She was being
just pulling back all. Yeah, she would have kept going.
She was flaunting it.
Yeah,
because she knew her time was limited. She had one mission to do, and she needed to have an exit strategy. She knows what she's doing.
Yeah. So I would say to bring up a weaker moment, I thought in the beginning, the first 4 or 5 episodes definitely were suffering. There was a lack of Star Trek vibe in those episodes. I also felt like they just didn't know what to do. Like they didn't know how to start. I think they should have started, in a very different place. Now that I look at the whole season, I would have had them start maybe a little bit further down the road. Like I thought it was weird that they were the way those first 2 episodes worked and everything.
Early on, I agree. I mean, they introduced the idea of the Spore Drive, which I didn't like. They introduced the Federation Klingon War, which I did like, and I didn't mind the Michael being a mutineer and being in trouble. I thought that was interesting to be following a character, but they didn't sell me on her decision making, and they needed to do that. So it got off to a rocky start. Absolutely, there was some bad, sloppy writing choices early on, and then I thought they got their sea legs, and the season was cruising, was fine. The mud episodes were really good. There were some good episodes in the middle, and we were sort of saying at the time, we'll give them a chance. And then it really hit their stride with the mirror episodes, and it ended strong.
Yeah, we were starting to like the characters.
It would have been cool if they could have done it like Babylon 5 or Battlestar Galactica, where they have like a mini series or like movie first to set it up, and then because it seemed like they had so much to set up,
they did.
And it was like, what is this TV show? I don't understand.
Well, they did the double episode. On the first night.
But it was awkward though.
We didn't really know what to expect.
And I felt like there was one episode where they went down to the planet. Saru and Michael and Ash went down to the planet. They had that crystal thing, and it was kind of like an old style, episode where they were on a mission and they were. And I think I think they're starting to realize we read this online.
The showrunners are talking about doing that.
Mixing them in, so it's going to be kind of like Babylon 5, right? Where you have an arc that will last multiple seasons or maybe a whole season, but they have like these one-offs where you can learn other characters and see them do some cool stuff.
Right. Which I think a lot of series do end up in that place. Whether they start out episodic, they become more serial. If they start out serial, they incorporate these episodes that in and of themselves are really interesting episodes, not just carrying the ball forward. And I think the showrunners are figuring that out. So as good as this season was, it was just the first season. I think they really set themselves up good for another season. But we don't know what they're going to do. There's lots of plot threads out there. We don't know if they're going to be more of an anthology. Are they going to, how much for in the future are they going to move us? Are we going to still be focusing on the Discovery? I mean, they kind of have to, I guess, if they're calling it the Discovery.
I like the fact that they very openly were just showing equality, right?
Yeah.
So we had a gay relationship on the show. Many powerful women on the show, and they were good, powerful women. This was
diversity all over the bridge.
It was great. And you never felt like it was forced or unnatural or just to do it.
It was realistic for Starfleet.
It was totally
way
realistic.
More realistic
definitely.
Than in the past. I mean, obviously they were all groundbreaking for their time. Somewhat.
But you're right. But this may be the first series where, like, we're really several hundred years in the future. This is what it would be like. Not only by gender and race, but also species in a way. And it felt like the Federation, but of course, it's always by the sensibilities of the contemporary audience.
Yeah, of course. I mean, as whatever our current perception is, it felt natural to me. I didn't feel like, that she doesn't have it or whatever. Like they all had it. They all had it in spades. Like they were actually some of the best characters.
Right. Admiral Cornwell, totally believable. So in a way, if you think about it, our society has caught up to Star Trek. We're now capable of realistically portraying what Star Trek universe would be like in that time. It's interesting to think about it that way.
I'm so relieved that like all of these characters at the beginning, like at the beginning of the series, it was like, all right, well, Georgiou's dead, the Cylon's dead. Now Cornwell's probably dead. It was like, what are you doing? But then most of them
all around.
It's for reasons. Even.
That's why I'm not giving up on Lorca. I'm not giving up on Lorca.
Yeah, he was cool. The fact that they sleeper agent him so well, and then when they did that thing where, they're showing you all the clues that they gave you, and you're like, oh!
But we knew it. I mean, we knew it.
We did, but I didn't pick it up. I didn't pick up the clues as like the eye thing. I didn't even know.
And it was so possible that they would surprise us with like something different. They made it obvious, and then like made it less obvious as it went on. Maybe something else will happen.
Well, I think that's a testament to the writing. The writing was good enough that they surprised us enough that we really, when you get to that point in a series where you realize anything can happen, that's great. That's good writing. Because I hate it when I get to a point in a series like, I know everything that's going to happen.
Yeah.
I know how this is going to play out because the writers are being predictable. And they're not taking chances. They wouldn't do this because they're not courageous enough. And so it's very predictable.
That did not happen.
And so killing off major characters early on, and this is, I mean, let's face it, the Game of Thrones is now setting the bar for this.
The bar has been set.
Yeah, and every series now thinks, oh, I have to do what Game of Thrones did. We have to kill off some major characters early on. It's like, okay, you don't have to do that. What you really have to do is show us that you're not afraid to do anything so that you're not predictable.
Right.
And they did this. They did that in this series, and it paid off. And like Jay was saying, every prediction I made was wrong. Everyone was wrong.
But that's good.
And it's good.
Right.
It means it wasn't predictable. We couldn't really know what was going on, although I was right about the Enterprise showing up. I'll just point that out. But
I was basing my part of, I'm not making an excuse, but the showrunner said at one point, I read, because I've been reading about this for years at this point, that you are not going to be seeing the original crew. You're not going to...
The crew. We didn't see the crew.
I know, but you can't dangle the Enterprise in front of you like that. That's so painful. They're right there. You know, who's on that ship?
It's just like the opening credits when, you know, the Enterprise comes in at the end with the music. Just like the...
Oh, that was another cool thing. So the end of this episode, they played Star Trek, the original series theme music, outro theme music. God, that felt so good. It really felt good.
They knew what they were doing when they did that. I mean, come on.
So overall, I think if I stack it up against other Star Trek first seasons, to me, Star Trek, the original series first season was probably the best Star Trek of all time. I know you don't agree.
It's hard. It's hard. It's okay. Comparison to make, but it is. It was a solid first season. Actually,
fantastic.
The first season was of the original series. First two seasons were great. The third season was weak.
Yeah, that's because they were losing the writers and everything.
It was weak.
There's a lot to talk about.
There were some episodes in that third season that were like.
But you know, the big bad first season in all of Star Trek was The Next Generation.
Yes.
So
oh my God,
that was rough.
If we're on the track that we're on right now, it looks like season 2 and 3 and 4 could be excellent.
There's amazing potential here. Amazing potential. Did a great job in this season, all things considered. Again, things to quibble about, but you know, good enough that I'm excited about next season.
And so many different ways it could go.
Yeah, and I'm upset that I have to wait a year. Pretty much for season 2.
I really hope that they take the lessons that they learned, and the showrunners, they have to be reading what the fans are saying, because I think the fans are having great insights. And you know, here's to whenever that next season drops. I hope that we could be.
We'll be here. Let's talk a little bit about AQ6. What are we going to do in the meantime? We're not going to be idle for the next 11 months or so. So we're going to be doing some special episodes about Star Trek Discovery. There's a lot to talk about, a lot to dissect. And then as news comes out, we may talk about that as well. But we're also going to be reviewing all of science fiction, right? Anything
all of it?
Anything.
All of it.
Every single thing. Everything is on the table. So definitely we're going to hit the Orville, Black Mirror. I keep wanting to say Dark Mirror. Black Mirror. The Expanse. Altered Carbon. Electric Dreams, just right there. I want to do all that. I'm sure there's going to be some great movies coming out this year.
We also
will hit that.
Yeah, we're going to
Wrinkle in Time, the Han Solo movie, Jay.
Yeah, I know. I saw the preview. And also definitely Ready Player One.
Ready Player One. Maybe that'll be the next movie review that we do.
Yeah, we're also going to go back into 2017 and try to grab a few movies from there.
We'll do some classics.
Yeah, absolutely. As always, guys, just keep sending in your suggestions. We're reading all of it, and we're talking about it, and we're putting a list together right now. So please, if you enjoy the show, go to patreon.com/Alpha Quadrant and the number 6. Become a patron and help us keep the show going. I loved doing this first season. The commitment was wonderful. I'm so happy. Steve really was the driving force behind us doing this TV show. And right away, let's get it going, because we wanted to do this show, but it was the Star Trek season.
We had to get started before the first episode dropped.
Right, definitely.
When did you have the idea? Like 2 weeks before?
Yeah, like 2 weeks before. I'm like, holy crap, we got to do a review show of Star Trek Discovery. Let's make it happen. And we was like the mad scramble at the end.
Yeah.
Most of which was finding a name, which was not easy.
So not Trek and Meatballs?
Not Trek and Meatballs.
Like Trek and Meatballs.
Trek and Meatballs was my idea. But we still couldn't go on with that one. But really, we came up with so many names, all of which were taken. And It was amazing how many.
Apparently that's not an issue.
Yeah, apparently that's not an issue. Right, we won't say anything. Nope. So Liz is in front of the camera for the second time with this episode, but she's almost always behind the camera switching. My wife Jocelyn is behind the camera right now. She is switching, and she's also always down here. So thank you guys for being our tech support for the first season, and I'm sure we'll be relying on you going forward as we do our other reviews. So again, just thank you guys. Couldn't have done this without you.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. And we'll see you at Alpha Quadrant 6 very soon. Probably within a week or two, we'll be putting up something brand new.